Hello, my beautiful Aries souls. I'm magnificent warriors of the zodiac. Welcome back to astrology. Unlocked the sacred space where we dive deep into the cosmic currents to illuminate your incredible path. Before we even begin, I have a feeling you're here for a reason. I have a feeling you've been sensing something just beneath the surface, haven't you? A strange resistance, an invisible wall that seems to appear right when you're about to charge forward. It feels like you're a sprinting champion, running through thick, unseen mud. You have all the power, all the drive, all the fire, but something somewhere is holding you back. My dear Aries, I want you to take a deep, cleansing breath, because your intuition is not just right. It is screaming a profound truth at you. Someone, a person, hidden behind the comfort of a familiar smile, has paid a price to see you fall. And no, this is not a metaphor. This is a cold, hard reality that your warrior soul has been sensing for far too long. You may have thought you dodged a bullet by luck, or that a recent failure was just a misstep on your part. But the truth is, you were divinely protected. And today, right now, in this sacred moment, we are going to pull back the veil and reveal the truth. We're going to name the shadows so they can no longer hold any power over your magnificent light. Does this feeling of an invisible obstacle resonate with you, my friend? If your heart is whispering, yes, I invite you to take a moment and write in the comments below, "Dear Lord, please bless me with the strength to overcome every challenge." And if you haven't already, please press that subscribe button and join our beautiful soul family. We're walking this path together, and I promise you won't want to miss the divine revelations the universe has prepared just for you. Now let's talk about this betrayal. This wasn't some random act of cosmic chaos. Oh no, this was a deliberate, calculated attempt to dim your brilliant light, orchestrated by someone you once trusted, someone you likely championed, someone you fought for, someone you considered part of your tribe. You, dear Aries, are the trailblazer, the leader, the unstoppable force of nature. Your fire inspires, it motivates, and it illuminates. But for someone living in the cold shadows of their own insecurity and envy, your light is not inspiring. It is blinding. It forces them to see their own lack of courage, their own inaction, and instead of choosing to rise to your level, they made a cowardly choice to try and bring you down to theirs. What hurts the most, what cuts the deepest for a soul as loyal as yours, is that this person didn't challenge you face to face, warrior to warrior. That is a challenge you would have respected. Instead, they acted from the shadows. They smiled to your face while seeking to place obstacles in your path from behind. They knew your passions, your ambitions, and the projects that set your soul on fire, and they used that intimate knowledge as a roadmap to try and sabotage your success. You've been asking yourself, why is this so hard? Why am I hitting so many walls? You may have even started to doubt your own power, your own fire. But this wasn't about you, my dear Aries. It was about their inability to stand the heat of your magnificent flame. The deepest wound for you is never the fight itself, it's the betrayal of loyalty. It's knowing that you once fought for someone who in turn wouldn't even stand for you. You have felt this truth in your gut, in that fiery instinct that is your greatest superpower. You've seen the signs in dreams you couldn't quite explain. You felt it in an unease that settled in your stomach when a certain name was mentioned. If you are hearing these words today, it is because the universe is saying it is time. It is time to see, to acknowledge, and to release. You don't need to prove this to anyone else. You simply need to place your hand on your heart, feel that warrior's heartbeat, and whisper to yourself, I see the truth. I know my power, and I will not be stopped. You may never get that apology, that confession, that moment of validation from them. But my dear friend, you have something far more powerful. You have the truth. And the truth is the key that unlocks you from this energetic prison and sets your spirit free to soar once more. As a small ritual, a first step in reclaiming your power, I invite you to take a piece of paper. Write down the first name or initial that flashes in your mind when I speak of this silent betrayal. We are not writing this to hold on to anger. Oh no, that is not our way. We are writing this to give your soul a tangible place to set down this heavy, invisible burden it has carried. This is a farewell to the version of you who felt confused, who doubted their own fire, who gave their loyalty unconditionally even when it left them depleted. From this moment forward, you are a warrior reawakened, and your light no longer entertains the shadows. So you might be asking, if someone truly sought to bring me down, if they hired an energy assassin of sorts, why am I still standing? Why didn't they succeed? And oh, my beautiful Aries, the answer to this will fill your heart with so much strength and courage. The answer comes like a thunderclap of divine truth. You are and have always been shielded by a force far greater than any shadow. Every single time you've narrowly avoided a bad situation, every time a plan fell through at the last minute, only for you to find a much better path, every time your gut screamed, no, and you listened without knowing why, that was not a coincidence. That was divine intervention. And I want to introduce you to the powerful, magnificent being who has been standing between you and these invisible attacks. A celestial warrior whose very essence resonates with your own fiery spirit. This is the commander of the celestial armies, the wielder of the sword of light, Archangel Michael. I want you to pause for a moment and think back. Remember a time you were about to sign a contract, enter a partnership, or commit to a path, and at the final second, an undeniable fiery impulse inside you roared, "Stop! This is not the way." There was no logical reason, just a powerful gut-level knowing. You listened, you changed course, and later on, you realized you had averted a disaster. My dear Aries, you may have called that your instinct, but I want to propose something more. Perhaps it was the voice of Archangel Michael, your divine protector, speaking through your warrior's intuition. In many spiritual traditions, there are beings known as Dharma, protectors, awakened energies whose sole purpose is to guard those who walk a path of truth and courage. In angelology, this ultimate protector is Archangel Michael. He is not a gentle, passive guardian. He is a warrior of light, a force of divine action, perfectly attuned to your Aries soul. You have met him not in visions, but in those moments of sudden clarity, of powerful conviction, of unexplainable course correction. Perhaps you were about to send an angry, impulsive email so classic for your fiery nature, but suddenly your computer froze, or a wave of calm washed over you, and you deleted it, preventing a chain of events you would have later regretted. That was intervention. Perhaps a business deal you were chasing fell apart, leaving you frustrated, only for a much bigger, better opportunity to appear a week later. That, my friend, was sacred protection. The universe knows that an Aries learns by doing, by charging forward. So your protection doesn't always stop you. Often, it redirects you. The rejections you once saw as failures, the loneliness that followed a necessary ending, the times you felt abandoned on your path, none of these were punishments. They were Archangel Michael, clearing the battlefield for you, removing the obstacles and decoys so you could see your true target, your true destiny with absolute clarity. Have you ever considered that what has kept you resilient, what has kept your fire burning so brightly, is not just your own incredible strength, but a divine warrior spirit, shielding you from the attacks you could not see? If you allow that truth to settle in your heart, you will realize you never have to fight your battles alone again. You have been, you are, and you will always be protected as long as you stay true to the courage and integrity in your heart. You don't need to perform elaborate rituals or say the perfect prayer. Your connection is forged in action, in courage, in your unwavering commitment to your truth. Just keep that fire of integrity burning in your heart, and Archangel Michael will always be there. He will be in the flash of insight that gives you the winning strategy, in the burst of energy that helps you overcome an obstacle, in that gut feeling that proves so accurate it gives you chills. So please, my magnificent Aries, never again dismiss those powerful, fiery impulses within you. Your soul is a direct line to your divine protector, and he is holding back the shadows at the very moment you need it most. And that is why, no matter how hard they tried to block your path, you always found a way to rise again. Not just because you fought back, but because a celestial warrior took the arrows meant for you. However, not every arrow is fired directly. Some are handed to an accomplice, a person who stands in the middle, smiling at both sides. This person isn't on your side, but they aren't openly against you either. And it is this neutrality, this refusal to choose a side, that has likely wounded your loyal Aries heart the most profoundly. In this journey of uncovering the truth, there is another face we must look at. Not the mastermind behind the attack, and not your divine savior, but the one who unlocked the gate and allowed the darkness to slip in. In the stories of our deepest wounds, the person who hurts us most is rarely the declared enemy. An open enemy for an Aries is a clear target. You know where you stand. The true pain comes from the one in the middle, the ambiguous one, the one you believed was a safe harbor, but who turned out to be the very bridge the enemy used to cross into your territory. My dear Aries, this is perhaps the most difficult truth to accept, not because it's terrifying, but because this person is so close to you. So close that you've told yourself, no, it can't be them. I must be imagining it. So close that you felt a pang of guilt for even daring to doubt their loyalty. This could be a friend, a former partner, even a family member. Someone who held your hand through past battles, someone who listened to your secret strategies and vulnerabilities, someone who made you believe, no matter what, they have my back. And yet this very person became the conduit. They didn't have to slander you directly. They just had to share a small detail, a story you told them in confidence, a vulnerability you once entrusted to them. And like a whisper on the wind, they passed the key to your fortress, to those who wished you harm. Now let's be clear. Not all of these people are malicious. Some are simply weak. They never intended to hurt you, but they were not strong enough to honor the sacred trust you placed in them. In the moment when you needed an ally to stand firm, they chose silence. Silence when they heard others speaking ill of you. Silence when they knew a lie was being spread. Silence when all it would have taken was one word: stop, to defend your honor. For an Aries, This silent betrayal is not just a wound, it's an insult. It violates the warrior's code of loyalty. And you, who are always so quick to defend your loved ones, have likely told yourself over and over they didn't mean it. Maybe they were scared. Maybe I'm just overreacting. But my dear friend, there are actions that require no interpretation, and there are souls who, even without malice, must bear the responsibility for their weakness. An American business leader I once coached, an Aries, told me this story. He shared a bold, innovative business plan with his oldest friend, the one person he thought he could trust implicitly. A few weeks later, he discovered that key elements of his plan had been leaked to a competitor through a series of casual conversations. His friend never admitted it directly. He just grew distant. But my client's heart was shattered, not because he might lose the deal, but because he had lost the one person he believed would always be in his corner. Have you ever had a person like that, Aries? Someone you thought was your rock, only to find they were the first to crumble when the pressure was on. I know you resist calling it betrayal because you want to keep a noble image of those you once cared for. But true forgiveness isn't about pretending something didn't happen. True forgiveness begins with daring to look squarely at the truth so you can finally, truly walk away from the pain. You don't need a confrontation. You don't need to expose them. All you need is a new boundary forged from the steel of your awareness, not from the heat of your wound. Starting today, let your fiery heart choose again. Not everyone who was with you at the start of your journey deserves a place at the finish line. Not everyone who knows your weaknesses has earned the right to witness your strength. Setting a boundary is not an act of coldness. For you, Aries, it is an act of profound self-love and self-respect. Write their name down, or simply the feeling of disappointment you carried. Write it not to condemn, but to ceremonially close the gate they left open, and then gently but firmly take your key back. Because your brilliant light has no more room for half-hearted allies. It has no more room for those who claim to be blameless, but always seem to be standing on the wrong side of the line. Your soul is roaring back to life, and it is now deciding who is truly worthy to stand by your side in the battles to come. And Aries, as you begin to do this, as you step away from these vague, uncertain allegiances, a quiet miracle will unfold. You won't have to search for it. A new tribe will begin to appear. New light will enter your life. New people will come, not to manipulate you, not to leech off your energy, but to walk beside you, warrior to warrior, with honesty, integrity, and wholehearted loyalty. As you are being pushed out of these old, weak circles, a new kingdom is opening up for you, a place where you no longer have to test someone's loyalty, a place that doesn't require you to dim your light to be accepted. And it is from this new empowered vantage point that you will see with absolute clarity what the ones who hurt you are now silently facing. There are some battles you don't need to fight, my dear Aries. You don't need to retaliate. You don't need to speak a word. You don't need to prove how deeply you were wounded. The universe has a perfect accounting system, and the law of karma, the law of energetic return, never ever forgets an address. You may have looked at them and thought, they got away with it. They're still thriving, still laughing, still surrounded by people. But the truth is, what they are hiding is for no one else to see. They have to live with the knowledge of their own cowardice every single day. The one who betrayed you, who turned away, who opened the gate for the darkness, is now beginning to face the echo of their own actions. No one needs to punish them. The brilliant silence from your light is enough to make their shadows feel vast. and empty. Do you remember the restless nights you spent trying to figure out what went wrong? They are beginning to have nights like that now. Do you remember the feeling of being isolated and misunderstood? They are now touching a loneliness they cannot name. Not because you wished it upon them, your noble heart is beyond that, but because that is the perfect unwavering balance of the cosmos. And here is the most beautiful part: you don't need to look back. You don't need to wonder if they regret it. Their journey is no longer your concern. What matters is you, that you are still here, your fire burning brighter than ever, that the light within you could not be extinguished, that you chose not to let their darkness define the magnificent person you are becoming. Your soul did not come to this earth to seek revenge. It came here to be reborn from the ashes of what seemed impossible to heal. You came here to prove that a betrayed heart can still lead with courage, that a deceived soul can still trust its own instincts, and that a light once targeted can still shine without asking for anyone's permission. To anchor this incredible transformation, let's call upon the wisdom of the tarot, the card that steps forward for you right now. My dear Aries, is the Chariot. This is your card. It is the ultimate symbol of victory, of willpower, and of charging forward with absolute determination after a period of conflict. The Chariot shows a warrior in full control, not by brute force, but by perfectly balancing the opposing forces in their life, the black and white sphinxes, the light and the shadow. This card is a powerful confirmation that while the road has been challenging, you are the one steering your destiny. You are in control. You have taken the reins back and are moving forward with a focused intention that is absolutely unstoppable. Take a deep breath, my magnificent warrior. Feel that in your chest. Does it feel lighter? Does your posture feel taller? Does your heart no longer feel like it has to brace for an impact? If the answer is yes, then you are precisely where you are meant to be. You are no longer the person you were. You no longer need the approval of circles that once tried to contain you. You have accepted yourself first and foremost. They may be falling into their own shadows, but you, my dear Aries, are rising. Not to be higher than them, but to be higher than the version of yourself who once quieted their roar for fear of making others uncomfortable. I know your heart is still tender in places, but that is not a weakness. That is where the light gets in. It is proof that you can still feel, still trust, still love with the passion of 1,000 suns. And now I want you to do one final thing for me, for yourself. Write this down on a piece of paper, in your journal, or even on your phone. Exhale deeply and write these words: I have seen the truth. I forgive what was, and I choose to charge forward in my light. Write it as a declaration of your victory. Write it as the final chapter of a story that no longer defines you. Write it as a farewell to the energy of those who hurt you, for they no longer hold any power over your magnificent heart. Write it and then step forward. No looking back, no regrets, because what is coming for you is a life of pure, unbridled momentum, a light no longer hidden, a brand new chapter written by you with a voice that no longer trembles, and a heart that no longer needs permission to be the brilliant, fiery force of nature it was always meant to be. Thank you, my beautiful Aries, for staying with me on this profound journey. Thank you for not letting the pain of the past extinguish your flame. Thank you for choosing the light, even when you were surrounded by shadows. I wish for your days ahead to be as bold as a sunrise, as strong as a mountain, and as full as a warrior's heart that has just claimed its rightful victory. May the allies who come to you now be worthy of your loyalty and love you for the incredible, unstoppable force that you are. The universe has seen your struggle, and now it celebrates your resurgence. Your light is shining bright once more.